What's going on, guys? This is Salvatore D'Angelo. I am here today with my friend, Matty Washington from Miami, Florida. Matty, introduce yourself. What do you do, my man?
What's going on, Sal? Thank you for having me. Great seeing you, brother. My name's Matty Washington. I am the founder and CEO of a commercial finance company, Moneywell GRP, and I'm a direct lender to the small business community when they're in need of working capital, when they don't want to go the traditional route. That's exactly what we do, and we service all 50 states.
So you're in the mafia?
No.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, no. Cool, man. Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. I know you got a lot of good insight. We had some good conversations in Florida, so I want to share some of your knowledge with my followers as well as your followers, help them through their trials and tribulations of business, and give some good advice. So let's get to it, my man.
100%.
All right. So me and you, right, we both met at a networking event, right? Brad Lee's NBA weekend. It was a great time, bunch of great people out there. What are some of the benefits associated with those networking events, right? Which ones have you attended? And also, which one has made like the biggest impact on your life?
No, I've been going to conferences since I've been, 19 years old, from the car business, and now into the commercial finance space. So I've always been a big fan of going to conferences and live events, because there's this certain stuff you can't get over an email or a phone call.
Absolutely.
Kind of like how we met. If we met over an email or a phone call, the vibe wouldn't have been the same and the connectivity wouldn't have been the same, no matter how legit your product is.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't get kicked off like it does in person. The event that we met at, I think, was a great, it was a conference, but kind of like a jam-packed, weekend MBA, like you're in college,
Man, I missed a few hours, but
yeah, you sat down, you learned, and if you did what you're supposed to do, which is network, you make connections like me and you did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But there's a bunch of different conferences in my space. I attend them every year. I sponsor them because the people that aren't showing up there, it's either they're being too cheap to go there, which is the wrong thing to be.
Yeah.
And the people that are going there, it legitimizes yourself. People that aren't going to conferences have stuff to hide.
That's one thing that I was attracted to, actually, now that you speak on it, is the price point, right? So it costs a little money to get in that door. So you knew when you look to your left and you look to your right, all these people are people that are willing to invest in their business. So they're passionate about what they do, right? And they're looking to improve. And I mean, I know you're a big fan of Michael Jordan. So Michael was all about just the slight improvements, right? Like, Tim S. Grover talking about, how they used to focus on each muscle in his hand and things of that nature just to make a slight competitive advantage. I think that's a big benefit of those networking events as well.
100%. I was listening to another podcast this morning with Ed Milet, and my buddy Craig Siegel was hosting it. And Ed was talking about how progress is invisible, right? While you're doing something, or you're trying to get in shape, or you're trying to build your company, the things that you're doing are invisible because you haven't reached your peak yet, and you might be going through struggles. But that's why a lot of people give up. When you go to a conference, the work that you're putting in right then and there might be invisible until you follow up on it and attack the leads and the contacts that you made at the conference. 100%. So a lot of things that we do to put ourselves in situations is on us to follow through with it, like we're doing right now. When we met each other, we said we're going to stay connected. We're going to help each other's networks grow.
100%.
We both took heed to the information that we were receiving from the superstars doing it, like Brad Lee, like Andy Elliott, to post more content, and it works if you work it, right? So
absolutely.
I think if you, whatever conference or whatever networking events per your industry and even outside your industry, you should be going to in today's time, because the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
100%. And I mean, at the end of the day, right, everybody's in your industry, because we're in the people business. So you never know. I mean, it's about making those relationships, making that, spider web of people behind each person that you meet, see what benefits you can bring to them, and it could be beneficial for you.
And just at that conference alone, Moneywell GRP, I lend to business owners that might have traditional financing out already.
Gotcha.
May not be bankable for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Or need a bridge loan in between them getting an SBA or a traditional product. So everyone I talk to nowadays usually owns a business.
Absolutely.
Right? When I was at that conference, I did a lot more listening than I did talking up front, because I wanted to see, hey, how can I help them?
Yeah.
Not just not how can I get them, how can I lend them money?
Yeah.
But I listen to see all verticals of what they need, and I start putting and connecting the dots. Just like me and you, we got people in touch with the mortgage industry now.
Yeah.
I've heard people needed a marketing company, people needed a CPA.
Yeah.
And that will naturally breed business to yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, you're also establishing a value of your presence in your person, right? Like, not everything has to be directly putting money into your pocket. If you're just constantly connecting people, you're a good guy and you're putting people in a position where they can make a living for themselves, it's going to come around to you eventually, and if it doesn't, at least you got that feeling of, being able to help people out. And I think
100%.
That networking event, man, there was a lot of that there. I still keep in contact with a lot of people from that event. It was good energy. Is there any other event that in your past that really like stuck out to you that kind of you had an aha moment at?
It's the National Association of Commercial Loan Brokers. Okay. A lot of real estate and mortgage guys go there too.
Okay.
It's in Vegas, so me and you got to go.
We're running
it's the National Association of Commercial Loan Brokers. So anyone that's looking for a multifamily investor, they have a fix and flip project, all the lenders are there. And people that are looking for lenders like myself to fund those projects in between them getting the traditional financing. It's made me a ton of money. And, when they first came out with it, it was like $7,500 to have a booth and to show up. And I remember I'm like, damn, that's a lot of money, and that's money that I necessarily didn't have. But, I made 20X that amount of money because I've been a member for the last 7 years, But that's just one example of when you look at the upfront cost of what it's going to cost you, you got to be you can't be short-sighted,
Really.
Because that money's going to turn over. And right now I can make a phone call to the owner of that conference, put someone in touch with someone I know. And it's not like I'm shooting them an email on LinkedIn or I'm DMing them like, who's this Matt Washington guy? It's like, no, we've hung out for the last 7 years. We've had cocktails. We've had dinners. I know about your family. You know about mine. It's like when me and you talk, I'm not a stranger.
Absolutely. It's not. Yeah. Totally agree with you. Let's move into the next question. What books are you reading right now? And which book has made the biggest impact on your life?
I mean, the Bible's made the biggest impact on my life, in all seriousness. I'm a man of faith.
A lot about that in Florida, my man.
You know what I'm saying? And I just keep it 100. I read that every day, every morning. But I'm reading The Hard Way from Bradley,
Yeah.
It's just a powerful book on, how you can go from one vertical to another vertical and mentally prepare your mind for whatever comes your way. And then I'm reading Relentless from Tim Grover.
Love that.
I'm reading that on Audible, and that one's totally changed my life.
Yeah.
I would say that book made me change the way I look at anything.
That book, speaking of that book and speaking of Winning, which is the other one that he put out, I read both of those books.
I'm on to Winning right now.
Yeah. So Winning's pretty dope too. But that event, right, that we went to, and those books did the same thing for me, essentially. Just like you can do so much better than you think you're doing, right? And there's nothing wrong with, if you're around this level of type of folks reaching for this type of deal when you know what your potential is, right? So you got to get into books like that. Relentless is awesome. I mean, just the way that Tim S. Grover trained all those different athletes and continued success. Like, the guy obviously knows something that we don't, right? There's patterns in success. If you're continuously and all the time successful, you're doing something right. And he just applied the same principles to each transaction, transactions being the athletes that he was training, and really took things to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with that book is when he wasn't Tim Grover until he met Michael Jordan.
Facts.
They both helped make themselves, because Michael Jordan, being a super ultra competitor, probably the most competitive person that we've ever seen in our day and age. And then you got Tim's knowledge and know-how, physical training, eating regimen, and also how to create a powerful mindset. Those two were a match made in heaven.
And he even says, like he said that, there'd be great athletes that would come into his gymnasium or whatever, come in for training. He's like, look, if you listen to me, we're going to do this. If you don't, we're not. And maybe we're not a good fit for each other. And I think that's another thing that we need to touch on with those networking events, right? Like relationships are like locks. So if you got, 4 numbers in a lock, right? You need all 4 for the lock to unfold. If you have 3, yeah, you're close, but that thing's going to stay locked, right? So not everybody is the right business relationship for you.
100%. And the networking events allows you to profile people, and know how to put people in what box. You know what I mean? Because you could have a conversation with someone and go, I really probably won't jive with him on a personal level. Don't want to go out to dinner with him. Don't want around my kids. If I don't want to go out to dinner with you, if I wouldn't let you watch my kid, I'm probably not going to want to do business with you, 100%. And that's how you gravitate towards, the universe gravitates you towards who the man upstairs or whoever you believe in, who he wants you to be around, going back to Tim real quick, it's the more information that I'm getting, the more mature I'm becoming in my business acumen.
I bet.
It's almost like, you're getting old when you're like, oh, if I knew this in my 20s, if I knew what I knew now, you know what I mean? But I'm constantly getting new information, going to these events, reading these books, and networking it's all information. Absolutely. You decide which way you want to go with it.
Absolutely. Another cool thing about those events, right? You got guys that are like, like yourself when you first started out, 19 years old. You got people that are 25. You got people that are 30, that are 40, that are 50, that are 60, right? And they've got all those years of experience, right? Or non-experience, right? So it's kind of like, it's like the OGs pass the knowledge to cats, right? Hey, look, I'm 5-10 years ahead of you. I've been where you're at. I know the struggles you're going through because I went through them myself. And this is how I personally address them. If that fits for you, it fits for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right? But I think that's another cool thing about those events, most definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Let's see. So how did you get into lending businesses money?
I grew up in the Bay Area, California, so I'm a California kid. Raised single mom, dad not there, played sports, and, kind of hung with the wrong crowd and ended up, dropping out of high school at 17 years old.
Yeah.
My mom was running a car dealership at the time.
There you go.
And she said, you're going to work. And the next day I was off. When I quit high school, the next day I was on a car lot, started selling cars, sold cars from 17 to 23, 24.
Got you.
Ended up selling a car to a guy in this space that ran a big company in Atlanta, Georgia called Advance Me. Now they're called Can Capital. He's like, hey, if you ever get tired of selling cars, I sell money. And, you're always like, okay. But when I was selling my car, I knew that he made money because as you know, in the car business, you run a credit app and you see what they're making on a monthly basis.
We got me into the mortgage business. I was like, oh, now.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, this dude's making 28 G's a month. And this is, 2008, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So long story short, I said, hey, I needed a change, called him up. He put me on the phone selling the product at first. And that was just direct to the merchant and the business owner. Got good at that. And then he put me in a business development role to where we would start seasoning almost like mortgage brokers. We were the lender and they would send me out to meet companies that would call and market to merchants and business owners and we would do whatever we need to do to get them to send us their files first. Because, there's 50 to 100 different lenders in my space.
Yeah.
So that's how I got in the business.
Let's go. We're back. We're back. It gets hot in SAC, as we all know, and sometimes it overheats the studio, but we're back, baby.
Y'all need to hit the American River up.
Yeah, I'm about to, or Folsom Lake at least. It's full finally, which is crazy. But anyways, getting back into it, man. You did mention you were in the car business, and I know me and you have talked in the past. Both of us enjoyed the car business, but it was not our dream job. In fact, some days we absolutely hated it, right? So hated it. My last 4 or 5 years of it, I couldn't fucking stand it. But what is the importance of, or maybe we can speak on the importance of, say you're not exactly where you want to be right now today. You're not doing exactly what you want to do, but you're doing something, right? What's the importance of mastering what you're currently doing so you can then later apply those same principles to your dream job when that opportunity comes around?
We both hated the car business. I hated the hours. I hated the holidays. You were always on a car lot. You made money, and you weren't even able to spend it because you couldn't even go anywhere.
Facts.
But if I didn't go through what I went through in the car business, it wouldn't allow me to be the person I am today. I got to talk and interact with all income levels, rich people, poor people, good credit, bad credit. So the engagements and the interactions that I was hating at the time were molding me to be able to take all that information and learning how to deal with different personalities into my career that I love now. There's certain things and talents that you learn in the car business. You learn how to bond with someone real quick. You learn how to be kind of a chameleon, and you learn how to deal with any story. You hear it all.
Yeah.
So as much as I hated it, I look back on it now and go, damn, if I wasn't in the car business, I wouldn't be where I'm at today or be capable of doing what I'm doing today. I
100% agree with you.
So if you're in a position, if you're in a career that you hate, I analyze why you hate it, and then the reason why you hate it is probably because it's hard. So we always have this dream that, I want to go do this and it's going to be easy. It's like I started a company 9 years ago called Pierce Capital, had 4 different partners. And now I started Moneywell GRP. I want to be my own boss, and I could do this. I can do this. Well, I can tell you this: you get hit in the mouth real quick, just like Mike Tyson says.
It's not all blondes in nightclubs, baby. It's not all blondes in nightclubs.
It's not all blondes in nightclubs, So if you're in a position to where you're not liking where you're at, and you don't like it, and you don't like going to work every day, analyze what it is that you don't like. Make a commitment to yourself. Put yourself on a time frame.
Yeah.
And do not don't write a contract with yourself. Sometimes we make commitments, we write contracts, and we start redlining our contracts. I'm going to start working out. I want to make more money. Okay, well, if you want to make more money, you might want to not go out to nightclubs as much. You might want to get some sleep, and you might want to work on your craft. I'll go out Friday night and I won't go out Saturday night. We start bartering with the contract that we made with ourselves.
Yeah.
You start negotiating with the contract we made with. If you can't trust yourself, how you can trust someone? If you can't trust yourself, you just need to hang it up now.
You know who talks about that? I'm talking 2 things. Wes Watson.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Non-negotiable. Wakes up at 2:45 a.m. every fucking morning. Eats the same thing. Fucking works out at the same time. Like, there's no negotiation in there. He's like, I don't drink. I don't blah, blah, blah. Why the fuck would I do that? Blah, blah. I love his style. He's a shit talker. But
I joined Wes Watson's program.
Did you? Good.
And from one athlete to another, we know we can get in shape, and we know what we have to do to get in shape.
Yeah.
So that $750, that I spent with Wes Watson, that was almost all I needed. Like, man, what the fuck am I doing? Excuse my language, but spending $750. Let me just get back in shape.
Yeah.
Everything's up here.
You know what to do. I mean, you just choose not to do it. Like last night, for example, I'm sitting in bed. I'm like, damn, I'm hungry. You know what I mean? I'm about to go get in my car and go to Adalberto's, right? I literally was walking around my kitchen for 30 minutes fighting that shit. I was like, no, don't go, bro. Don't go. You know you shouldn't go. I didn't end up going, but it's a struggle. You know you can't eat that shit, right?
But
you just can't do it.
You won.
Yes.
But just like we were saying when we had a little break, Muhammad Ali said he hated every second, every moment of training.
Yep.
Hated it, didn't want to do it. But he loved the checks and he loved the world titles.
Yep.
So you got to think about that in your daily regimen, your daily routine. There's stuff in my dream career. I'm doing what I believe, I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
But there's so many things that I hate when it gets slow, when loans aren't coming in and deals aren't clicking. You are your worst enemy if you want yourself to be.
And if you're not willing to make sacrifices, then you sacrifice what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Just throw in the towel.
Yeah. And then going back to the car business, if there's somebody out there listening that doesn't know what they want to do, car business is a great place to start. I mean, Brad Lee started in the car business. I was talking to him by the pool when we were out there, drinking or whatever. And he's like, the car business is the perfect boot camp for business, right? Because the amount of transactions that you get in a small period of time, right? You're working all those hours. And within those hours, there's countless amounts of people going in. There's very few businesses where you're going to have that many transactions in such a short period of time, right? So 4 or 5 years in the car business could equate to probably 15, 16, 17 years in a different industry. Now, just can't get caught in the car mentality, but you got to switch it up when you leave, obviously, but I think it's good.
And if you want to be your own boss and you want to start your own company, go sell cars first, because the guy or gal that owns the dealership is going to give you 300 cars. He's going to pay for those cars. Yep. He's going to give you a desk. He's going to pay for the electricity. You are your own boss.
Yeah.
In the car business, you're your own boss. And the benefit is that someone else is paying for your marketing. They're paying for the commercials. They're paying for your inventory. So that's the one thing about the car business that I do miss now that I'm a business owner, is that I'm floating the boat for marketing. I'm paying for my inventory.
Bills up there too, man.
Dude, but the car business, it was free.
Yeah.
Because the owner of the car dealership paid for all that. So it's a great tool to learn what you want to do. And it's a quick way to see if you're made for the entrepreneur life. I agree.
Awesome, dude. Well, hey, if you had to start from zero again, what is your game plan?
I've actually started from zero in my life, but as crazy as it is, I was always hesitant and patient when I was coming on a come up. It was like I was afraid.
Yeah.
I would have zero patience.
Zero patience.
I would just be ready to fail immediately 2 seconds later.
You know what? That's one thing I realized in my life too. I always I would always be doing good, right? But I would think to the future. I'm like, oh, well, eventually it's going to be like this. Eventually it's going to be like that. Fuck eventually, bro. Go make
100%
right now. Right now. That's all. The time is right now. 5, 6 years from now, yeah, you should have goals, all that type of stuff. But if you're not living exactly the way you want to live right now, change that shit right now. That's the time to change it.
Yeah, if I had to start all over, I would just be like a bat out of hell on my mission. I would stick to it, and I wouldn't care about what just happened to me. When the first time I kind of went broke, I was so timid, and I was tiptoeing around. And if I didn't tiptoe, I missed a couple deals that could have catapulted me, but I was hesitant, and I was shocked. You know what I mean? So I would go straight to it and get back on your grind and have a mentality of, if it happens again, it's okay.
And I mean, we've all been there, right? We've all been there. I think the key is to not get too highs in the highs and too lows in the lows, right? And I mean, obviously it's very easily said, not so easily done, right? But that's one main focus that I think I've gained with age, is just, when things are going super good, don't get too happy. You got to stay grounded. When things get super bad, just know that things are going to flip, right? Peaks and valleys don't stay in the valley.
100%.
Yeah. All right, brother. What qualities, when you're out there networking or, just your life in general, what qualities do you look for people in your social circle and what's important to you?
My main thing I look for is how people treat the waiters and waitresses and the staff and those type of people. If I'm around you and you talk down to people, or you have this type of arrogance about yourself, it's a wrap. I grew up in a single family home. My mom had a house cleaning business. We were basically maids and servants to rich people. My mom had a good house cleaning business and later in our life. But starting out, I remember the people that talked to her down, or the people that would throw the clothes at us a certain way. You know what I mean? So that just stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I watch people and how they talk to other people.
Absolutely.
Because then I can figure out exactly who you are.
Yeah.
You
told me that by the pool too. There was a lot of good conversations by the pool.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, that's you know what I mean. Like, hey,
big time though, because look, like that waiter, right? That waiter, whatever it might be, like there's nothing that person can get from that person, right? So how do you treat people that you can't get anything from? Right.
Well, and the reason why that's like my main temperature gauge on if I'm going to be friends with them, or if I'm going to be cool with them, or if I'm going to let you in my circle, is because that's how they would treat you if you were in that light. It's cool to be hanging out with Matty Washington. I'm floating. I'm buying the drinks, and I'm hanging out with Sal D'Angelo.
Yeah.
But what if Sal was on the other end at the bar? What if you were at a down point in your life serving the drinks? How are you talking to those people? Because they're going to talk to you that way if you're in that scenario.
100%. And it's a good ride up, man, but you're going to have to see the same people on the way down. So it's definitely, man. So
if you got kids, and if I got a 13-year-old son and he's the light of my life.
Yeah.
Me and his mom are not together, but I try my best to have a great relationship with her, and whatever she needs, I just try to, no matter if I don't agree with it. I also watch how people, when they've gone through divorces, or how do they deal with certain issues? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because that's how they're going to deal if they have a problem with you. Like me and you, we're friends, but if we have a disagreement, is Sal just all going to cut me off and start to, you know what I mean? When you see how people deal with problems and how quick they are to start pointing fingers at the other person, they're going to do that to you.
Definitely. No, it's you got to watch conversations closely. I think that if you really like delve into what people say, they're going to expose a lot of things about, what they might be hiding in the future, right? Not necessarily hiding, but it's not even their fault. It's just their belief system, right? So I think that what I look for as far as my social circle is people of a similar cloth, which is a pretty broad spectrum or a broad way to explain things, but similar past experiences. Not necessarily that we all have the same type of life, but trials and tribulations of certain magnitudes, how they kind of talk about those trials and tribulations, right? Like if they're like, oh man, this happened to me, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it made me do this instead of that. Boom, that's the guy I want to fucking hang out with. They go, well, I can't get ahead right now because this happened, that happened, and then back in 2008 there was a recession, and now there's coronavirus. Blah, blah, blah. Motherfucker, it doesn't matter, and I don't want you around me. You know what I mean?
It's crazy with things. You got to meet my wife. She's a pretty cool, hardcore chick, and she was we were talking the other day, and she was like talking about perspective.
Yeah.
And she's like, this girl went on a date with this guy, and the guy said he works for a multi-billion-dollar company.
I'm sure.
Well, the girl's like, oh snap. What company's that?
Yeah.
And he said McDonald's.
That's hella funny, dude. Well, fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
And I was like, dang, that's good. But she goes, it's all about perspective. But someone working at McDonald's works for a multi-billion-dollar company.
Hey, you know what? That guy's probably flipping burgers the best he can, mastering the process. And when that opportunity comes around, he's going to make some multi-millions at a multi-billion-dollar company.
Right. So then it's just like, hey, but that's.
Or he has a heroin problem. I don't know, one or the other, but
that's so powerful if you think about it.
Oh, absolutely. I think one thing recently, like, you know how there's always that saying, like, you know, the people you know don't support you as much as, you know, new people. You know, you hear that a lot in people saying that. There's two perspectives you can take with that. Either, yeah, your old friends don't fuck with you, right? Or whatever it might be, or you're growing as a human, right? And the reason why those people aren't, you know, clicking with you and supporting you is because they can't relate to you anymore, because you've elevated yourself so far that it just, the frequencies aren't there, right? Like, you don't mesh anymore. So you can either look at that as a negative or a positive. Anything in life you can look as a negative or a positive. I got to be around positive people.
Yeah,
I cut conversations. I'm just like, hey, Bob, oh yeah, good seeing you, big dog. All right, later, bye. You know, here, get him a shot. All right, bye.
well, but that's why you are who you are, and that's why your network is so vast.
Yeah,
You know, you're not just isolating yourself to the mortgage business.
absolutely.
You know, dealing with Sal, you get the full package. You love everyone because you communicate with everyone. You don't isolate yourself with who you talk to. You know, and you know, just to go to your surroundings and your environments, I started playing golf. I used to talk shit about people that golf
I just did the same shit.
because I didn't know what it was, you
Yeah.
know. But you know, in my personal life, I've cut back alcohol. I don't go out to clubs and nightclubs anymore.
Yeah.
I stopped drinking my money. I started focusing on my spirituality and my business.
Yeah.
You know, and when you first break away from that, people always ask you, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
What do you mean, man? Well, come on, dude, you're fine. But those people aren't ready to dip off that lifestyle. So the quicker you start making decisions where you don't want to hang out late and you don't want to go out to party and you don't want to spend your money on alcohol, whoever's telling you, no, man, it's okay. Those are, it's like God puts it right in your face.
Like,
because the people are like, all right, cool, man, let's go walk, let's go hit the track, let's go work out.
100%.
Those people are who you need to be with. But I used to talk so much crap about golf because I didn't know how. I couldn't afford to, right?
Yeah. Dude, I have a newfound respect ever since I started. The guy that's recorded the podcast, Philly podcast, this guy's a fucking stud at golf. But I'd never even paid attention to golf on TV before I golfed. Now I'll be at the restaurant, I'll be like, oh my God, that was a wonderful shot. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You know how hard it is.
You
appreciate it.
Dude, that's the hardest sport ever made.
But it's just like in football, when you see someone make a badass play, you know it because you've played it. You can appreciate the physicality, the movement that player had to make that tackle, to make that touchdown. Yeah. You know, but it's the environments that you're putting yourself in. If you're listening and you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to level up and you want to make more money, start looking at the environment you're in. When I'm golfing and I show up to the golf course and they go, hey, it's just me and my wife, or hey, me and my buddy Justin, and they go, hey, can these two other people join you? When I first started doing it, I'm like, no. But dude, that's a doctor.
Yeah.
That's an attorney.
Absolutely.
That's a real estate mogul. That's a restaurant owner. That's everyone that I need to be networking with. And the environments that you put yourself in that's going to be the beacon of where you're going to go.
For sure. For sure.
So, you know, if you're listening, put yourself in the right environments. Any decision that you want to make, Tim Grover talks about this, the uncomfortable fence. If you're worried about letting someone else down on a decision that you're going to make that's going to help better yourself, make it.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, touching on that, let's say you're in Sacramento, California, and you're watching this right now, and you have a plan to get a bottle at the park this weekend, and you're going to spend, $500-$600. You could take that $500-$600, maybe put another $300-$400, head down to Huntington Beach, hang around some fucking money, and run into somebody that might be thinking a little bit more like you.
100%. It's the environment you put yourself in.
It is.
I remember the night and the exact time where I said, I cannot be in a nightclub anymore. I was with 4 of my closest friends.
Mine was Friday.
But mine was like Friday 3 years ago. But I was with 4 of my closest friends, and we haven't hung out in a while. One flew in all the way from California.
Yeah.
And boom, let's hit the club. And we didn't talk to each other the whole night. The mission was to find chicks.
Yeah.
And at the end of the night, we all went our separate ways, and we didn't even see nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing happened. No fruit came out of it. We were screaming at each other the whole night, bobbing our head, you know, acting like we knew what we were telling each other, but we all were focused on getting chicks. We didn't care about each other. You know what I mean?
100%.
So it's the environments that you put yourself in if you want to level up, man. I can't stress that more.
True. And then you felt it for 2 days and you weren't on point for the gym and on point with work. And there could have been someone in there, even if you did go to the club and didn't drink, that you would have ran into that could have made you some money. So it's coming to fruition for me too, my brother. Finally.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's not all about making money too. It's the conversations, like some of these doctors that I meet on the course.
Yeah.
Dude, when something's wrong with my arm and my elbow and all the stuff I got going on from my old sports injuries, I could call them.
That's tight.
So it's like, you know, there's no money exchange, but there's a value there.
Absolutely.
You know,
and energy exchange. You guys probably similar, you know what I mean, as far as all that goes.
100%. You know, that
pissed off on a golf course, you know, in the beginning anyways, maybe in the end.
Yeah. You know, I broke up a massive fight on a golf course.
Did you?
In Miami Beach.
Oh, that's why I love Miami.
And it was, I don't want to put the professional athlete out there.
Yeah.
But it was an NBA player that took on about 5 dudes.
Wow.
At once. True story. You could go to Miami Beach golf course and they'll tell you that they call me Matty the Bouncer. We got time to say it real quick?
But I love that. That's
awesome. One of the biggest fights I ever broke up was actually on a golf course. It's crazy.
Well, shoot, man. I think that's about our time, big fella.
I thank you for having me, brother. I can't wait to see you.
Yeah, man.
And I appreciate it.
Out there.
And it's, you know, I'm glad that we connected.
100%, bro. I appreciate your time, big time, man. A lot of good information. So episode probably be out in about a week, guys. We will talk to you soon, everybody on live. Thank you again, Matty. Run that music one more time before we're done.
Hey, they can follow me at Matty Washington on Instagram.
Yes, and we'll put that in the whatever he does. That's the labels.
That's awesome.
It came out right there. All right, my bro. I'll see you.
Thank you.